What's good? I'm gonna give everybody a second to get in here. This week's been pretty fucking boring, man. As far as indices go, Euro has been nice. I keep getting like Euro Missor syndrome. I'm really considering about to start trading more Forex, but I don't want to spread out my efficiency too thin as far as the indices. But sometimes it's nice to be able to watch both. I don't have been much to do this week with indices here. Been a pretty boring couple days. I mean, Euro hasn't been insane, but there's definitely been some more movement. And now that the daily chart is starting to show more intention, same with the weekly, you know, I'm starting to see opportunity. That's right near EQ of this little order block. I like this level. Just to have it marked on the chart. A lot of times those monthly levels will get drawn into, and then you can refine them down on the weeklies or the daily. And one thing I like to do is if I have a monthly order block right there, I might go to weekly and say, okay, well, what else do I have right here? If I look, I have this weekly order block. And you can try to go down and refine it and, you know, put it right here. And you can see we're getting some form of a reaction there. And you can continuously find, okay, where is there price action that is inside of the other price actions we're looking at? You know, you could move this right here. Might do that, just leave it there, just to be mindful of what's there. Oops, weekly OB. I've got some form of reaction off that. And the reason I'm marking this is just because it was very clear we're drawing up towards something, and I think the market has shown the intention to shift. But I do think we are likely to come back down into this gap once it's formed, depending on how this week goes, and maybe get some entries for those longs, or start to come back down to buy territory. And the bias hasn't really switched as far as the daily hasn't shown any displacement down. We don't have any anything on the daily forming a swing high just yet. You know, we might today, most likely. Now, if we hop into the 1 hour, remember, let's go back. I'm just going to go ahead and mark where this gap is so far on the weekly, and we'll refine it down to a daily. So I like that more so. We also got this down here, something we could see a reaction into. Price seems to be pretty bullish, and this is right at a equilibrium. So if we go on the 1 hour, you know, if we'd like, we can go and try to refine it down even further. I think this is the CPI. Yeah, I could be wrong. Pretty sure that was it though. And if we look on the 1 hour, that daily impulse swing, like we talked about before, is our 1 hour swing range. So the 1 hour here is kind of giving us a little bit. What is this? What's up, Braden? Make sure because I heard somebody said somebody's mic was on, but I couldn't hear anybody. So we should make sure it says it's, I don't know. It says my headset is on. I can't hear anything now. Oh, my volume was down all the way. Trying to mute, dude. Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, my volume was completely down. I couldn't even hear it. Sorry about that, guys. So, yeah, that's nice push to the downside here. Although I will say not leaving much to trade off of the 1 hour. Now we could look at this 1 hour rejection block up here. We actually did tap that. Where's the high? 384. Yeah, it tapped it right to the pip. Okay. He is muted, right? Yeah. The dude is muted. Oh, I have him muted. Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. Now he's server muted. Sorry. Got it. My bad. I had him muted, not server muted. So sorry about that. So now we've came back up into the premium of this impulse swing. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And we've tapped up into this rejection block, maybe a 15-minute order block or something. No, just that 1 hour rejection block. Overall, we've got a nice push down here. So I think that overall, we have the likelihood to start drawing down. I mean, Euro's pretty bullish. This would be kind of trying to call it early. I'm not sure if I'm going to aggro in any shorts, especially after this move this morning right there. So I don't see why. Again, this is pretty balanced price action. There's nothing really inefficient that I would see a need to go up and tap in this price swing right here. On 15 minutes usually as far down as I go for stuff like that. We can go to a 5 minute and it's really the same. I mean, there's nothing here that screams at me. Maybe these equal highs and the highs, and then that might mean we're just going higher. So nothing clear that I want to trade off of yet, but I do think that the pullback potentially could be starting. Overall target would be down here in this green zone, which is that daily imbalance. So we have tapped into that weekly order block that we refined from the monthly level right there. So still needs a little more time. A lot of stuff after that massive CPI pump. The same thing with indices here. We hit our target, up into this target, it was pretty clean. Once we've hit into that, we're at this kind of indecisive point where market is starting to show some displacement to the downside. We have a massive gap we need to at least come into, I think, or this gap maybe. Overall, point of the story is we have a lot of retracement that we really need to do. If we look at a 15-minute, just overall a lot of liquidity building up there. Just this whole area, it's kind of starting to look like retail support. So got a lot of sell stops under that. And we've got just the previous daily low over here that seems like we're drawing towards. This morning is just complete. It's pointless to watch this, in my opinion. But let's see. We're starting to get some displacement down. We got this liquidity pool with this previous daily low right here. Prices came back up into this order block. It's still really not what I'm looking to trade. And sometimes it's just going to be like that. Like I'll catch myself staring at shit for too long to where, if I'm looking at something and it's not like what works for my specific strategy, you got to just be like, okay, well, just come back tomorrow. So an overall push down, but I'm not trading a rate off those lows personally. I mean, it might, who knows? It might fly up, take the equal highs. I don't know, but it's not something I want to play. So I'll probably be chilling. I actually got to go after stream. I got to go pick my car up. I had some stuff done to it, and then got to get my hair cut. So I'll probably be off the charts this afternoon. It's been a pretty dead week, to be honest. I've taken 2 trades. Let's look at other indices. So other indices, some nice bullish divergence here on the NASDAQ. That was, as usual, completely in its own world. I don't know, that looks okay. NASDAQ looks better as far as for trading than ES does. Yeah, NASDAQ actually gave a decent opportunity. I just wasn't really watching it. Yeah, NASDAQ's moving much cleaner. So with that bullish divergence, if we do start to make a run back up, I wouldn't be looking to take it much farther than probably right around this full fill. or maybe even this breaker. The reason I'm using that as a breaker, it was the last down candle before the impulse swing up that took stops right here. So to me, I'm gonna go ahead and mark this out. You got a full fill of an imbalance right there. If the 5-minute gave a nice sell signal in here, I'd probably look to sell that. That's the main setup that I see with indices. I don't really like where ES is at as far as to trade it. But there's nice bullish divergence here. I wouldn't really call this a shift on the 5-minute though. It's more like hitting that wall, can't really hold the displacement, comes up. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those days whenever I look at something and I'm like, yeah, this or that, or maybe this, I just stop. I just don't trade it just because I know that there's not every day that you're going to have trades. Like I can see something down on here right there. But other than that, you know, and the risk to reward is kind of marked on that already. But I would like to see price trade up into this or the breaker block right at a premium. Also that full fill of the imbalance. And if the 5-minute could give some sell signals there, I'd probably take sells into this low. So go ahead and mark out the range. Got an order block right at equilibrium. Those usually yield some form of reaction. So I like that 11,494 mark. What I'm going to do is set an alarm for this. I hope it doesn't hit today. Honestly, I won't catch it. But for those of you who are trading that's the setup that I see. I think that it's going to draw back up after we took this sell side liquidity. We've got that bullish divergence. Took the previous daily low on ES or on NQ, but not ES. And then got that full fill right at the equilibrium and a breaker block and a premium. So if I'm using the 1 hour to frame an idea, just like we just did, I would look for the 5-minute to confirm it. So if I were to get a push up into this area, kind of engineer some liquidity, raid, push down, that's your entry right there. And then look to take it down. So alert set for that. I'm not going to try to trade the move up into it. I think the good entry there was kind of down here at the bottom. I just wasn't watching NQ, just been watching ES. And for those who are unclear on what I'm talking about, you've got a break right there. Imbalance entry. And that's after bullish S&T divergence. So could have got in a trade there, taken it up to all these highs right here, and then left a runner to up here. But as far as trying to chase it into it here, it's a lower probability setup in my opinion because you already missed the low risk buy. That's just that's the way I'm looking at it. Let me look at some of these comments. I haven't read them. Good morning. Would I agree that ETH shifted and broke on the 4-hour, came into new demand, and came into the IC on the 1-hour, still in a discount from the biggest leg in the range? Look at the 4-hour. So the SMT divergence we talked about yesterday played out nicely. I should have sold that, but it's all right. Oh, girls try to do your haircuts. Best financial advice. My folks charging 100. Yeah, mine isn't that expensive. It's like 50. But so back to the question. ETH shifted and broke on the 4-hour. So I'm assuming you're talking about this right here, maybe. And if that is what you're talking about, I think that the narrative that I see there is that price telling it wants to go lower. Got liquidity right there. Sell side liquidity. I like using this. Looks cleaner. So you've got a narrative you could possibly trade off there. I would probably hop on a 1-hour to actually trade off of it. So what I would do I would focus on the impulse swing. You've got liquidity right there. So there's nothing that's really saying you have to go up here. Also got this massive breaker block right here that you already traded into, but that to me is too far down on a discount. It definitely could be a reversal point though. Breakers I'm pretty picky with. What I would be watching for is, personally, I'd wanted to come to a premium, and the only area I've seen a premium is this high as far as on the 1 hour. There's not really much of an imbalance, or there is here, but when we're this close to this level, I think that, coming above this high, maybe even into that imbalance, you might see a reaction there. But that would be the narrative I would be seeing playing out, because we took the low, showing that we're going to go down for something here lower. The market makers might push price back up to rebalance, since there was some inefficient price action here. Just mark this just in case. Got liquidity and an imbalance right here. It's kind of a bread and butter setup to maybe take a sell down. I'll actually set an alert for this. Who knows if I'll see it. I've been turning off trading via my computer and everything, and I still don't get alerts. Don't see them. Like I do, but they're late, or they'll be like in a flurry. So I don't know. Nice, you caught one of the streams, Bloom. Miles said that's why you don't. Oh, some of the haircut on the 9th. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, we broke this for sure. That's for damn sure over here. Now the daily chart, that's where really I would look as breaking is, or wait, on the 9th. Hold on. Because it was the big drop was, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, is the massive drop. And I see this pretty clean balanced price range. You got sell side liquidity here. You got equal lows here. So the bigger picture with Ethereum is I would look for a possible balance or move back up into this price range to balance it. Once price is rebalanced here, I don't see any reason that it's not going to go straight to these lows. It's also such a psych point. I mean, it's 995, which is right under 1,000. There's equal lows. I mean, there is so much fucking liquidity all through here. So many people's stop losses are sitting there. He holds 1,000 strong. Again, it's just too free for me. But as far as like the intraday, back to that 1 hour, I think the 4 hour, I think we shifted down, which is the most recent displacement. That price is probably going to move up to rebalance and then most likely move down again. Now, if this does get protected, like if we do make it above this and we just kind of come up and take out all these highs, we might just be moving straight into that daily narrative. But this daily chart doesn't really look too decisive yet. It's kind of one of these manipulation ranges where we've made this massive move. Price is still just forming ranges in the lower time frames, kind of just deciding what it wants to do. What I would like to see here is a little power of 3 action. Well, accumulation forming equal highs. That bounced around. Once if it does come under here, maybe some manipulation down into this area. And then expansion back up to that daily narrative. And that's just me trying to dissect what I see and apply it to with the higher time frame bias. I do think this red zone will get tapped. There's also order block right here, order block right here. Nice little imbalance just below. Is just this picture perfect right here? Actually, I really like this. I'm more interested in the buys down here. Did I not draw a breaker block? Oh wait, was that on something else? That was on NASDAQ. I'm tripping. I was like, wait. I'm actually gonna, this is some pretty TA. I'm gonna draw it out and post it up. Do it for the clout. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought up Ethereum. This is pretty clean. Look at dollar cat. Oh, wow. Perfect. Well, there we go. We talked about this yesterday. Said we're going to drop into this range. I wanted us to come into this first and not the imbalance, though. That was where I was partially incorrect there. But I don't know if we talked about it yesterday. I think it was Monday, actually. But price coming back up to this high right at that daily imbalance. We barely tapped in it. I think this will get revisited. I don't think that that's it. I think we're engineering liquidity. So I guess we technically tapped the imbalance first. What I wanted was push back up to that daily imbalance, then a push down here or into this little small gap right there, which we didn't really make it into it or into the discount of it for sure. So dollar CAD following the plan pretty nicely. Make sure I have the alert set. Once price comes up to this area, I would like to see the 1 hour shift first. Like, I'm not going to force it into it. Also, they've got an order block kind of right in front of that liquidity. And pretty clean delivery here. So DXY. Also has an imbalance it needs to tap into. You know, it's really probably going to go. But what I could see happening is if we do somehow find a little bottom here and push up into this, I would think we'll make another last little leg down into these lows. I think this is a monthly order block. Yeah. I'm going to make these orange so I know what they are. I like the orange color. All right, daily charts, what I was on. Yeah, I mean, massive displacement of the downside. We've got this impulse move with that daily order block we talked about. But I think we'll probably pop up into one of these fair value gaps, make another move down into these lows, and that's where we'll see we're getting closer to that monthly order block. That's where we'll see that push back up into a premium of the range. So DXY not really showing the clearest of intention as of right now. So yeah, that's my chart. I'll set alerts. Hold on, where is this? And okay, my chart, I'll set alerts and watch price action in that range and look to take a long based on a break of structure, or do I plan on placing limits? Oh, you're talking about ETH. Is he even in the stream? Hold on, he might be just talking about the post. He's not in the stream. Let me tie it back to him. So kind of shift over here, DXY. We've traded back down into this order block here. We're getting out of the mean threshold. That's good as far as for DXY. I could see a push back up into this zone too. And that would go along with our bias for ES and indices kind of retracing a little bit. After we've traded in this order block, we've got a lot of liquidity here, low resistance runs right there. So that's going to be a target, and that's going to be a target. And we've got equal highs front running the daily imbalance. So yeah, I think the overall draw right now on the daily chart for for DXY is to go up. So you might see some pain in markets. We can see as soon as price traded back down into this order block, as soon as you come into this blue level, bullish institutional order flow. Shift in structure. We're in imbalance. Right off of it. Now we're showing displacement to the upside. So at this point, I think that we are on the buy side of the curve of this little bit of price action. So I think we're going to come out and start seeking out these highs. So that would lead for a bearish push in equities. But I don't know if it'll make it much farther than this. And this is more just me going off intuition. I could totally be wrong. It might rip all the way up to this. But I want to see a reaction here. Look at some of these questions. Said I had to mention that gap to silent. Sorry, came late. Have you analyzed Bitcoin, sir? We actually haven't gone over Bitcoin. Any tips on knowing when to extend impulse range versus start a new one in the live market? We'll do Bitcoin in a second. So the best way to answer this is kind of just like relative move. So for instance, if you have an asset that does this, and this is your swing range, your overall big, massive move. Like an impulse move is each one of these legs to me. But if you're talking about the actual swing, right? And then price does this. So it does this right here. I just fucked it up. Let me do this, make this a little easier. It's hard to draw examples sometimes. So if you're saying you're right here, and this is your overall range, we'll say price does this and barely pops up and then comes back down. I'm not going to say, oh, well, we had another range here, and then now we've got another range here. You know what I mean? That's when you start kind of getting all over the place. But I think you just extend the range. Now, if the price of an asset, has a normal swing in price that we'll say it's like this big, and you can kind of just tell this by looking at the chart. We'll say this is your swing, and you come back down, and you make another massive move, yeah, you can say, okay, well, now we have a new leg in price. It's just kind of relative to how much that asset usually moves. Alicio said, yo, man, can't hear at the moment, but I'll drop a couple questions maybe from the time to answer. Okay. How can we know that a low time frame fair value gap trumps a high time frame fair value gap or vice versa? For example, there's a daily fair value gap, but it's not represented on the 1 hour or lower time frame, but the price still retraces to daily fair value gap. How can we know that that's the range we have drawn is correct? So anytime you're drawing a higher time frame POI, like a daily or a weekly, you can attempt to refine it. But the only reason you would refine it is not to find something that, so to speak, trumps it, but more so get a more precise bit of price action. So I'll give an example. It's going to take me a second to draw this, but we're going to do it. And I remember, I think you hit me up on Twitter, and I told you to come in the stream and ask this question because I could not type it. Some questions I try to help people, but there's no hope as far as trying to type out certain things. So in this example, we have a fair value gap. That price has left this gap that is between the wicks of these candles. So we're going to look for a price to come back up here. So if we are looking at this on a daily time frame, and here's our impulse swing, and we took liquidity over here, then there's really not a reason to refine this because we have a very clear imbalance right at a premium. Now, the situation where you would want to refine this is where you have something like this. So I'll use this example, make it as exaggerated as possible. So now if you have something like this and you have a massive fair value gap where, okay, that's a big range. How am I going to, it's a lot of it's in premium. This part's in discount, but this part's in premium. What do I do? This is where you say, okay, I'm going to go out to maybe a 1 hour or a whatever time frame you wish to use. And let me do this. And then you can find the gaps, like the first one at a premium. We'll say, I'm just going to draw this like this for the sake of explanation. Give it to myself. I do fairly well trying to improvise on TradingView for a PowerPoint or a presentation tool. Works better than most people give it credit for. So we'll say something like this. And if you're looking at this massive gap on the 1 hour and you have something like this, now you can say, okay, well, this is clearer and this is the first imbalance at a premium. So that's where I'm going to trade instead of looking at this whole massive gap. It's actually a pretty good little explanation if I do say so myself. I'm gonna put this in my Notion to do this later and make this into an infographic. I haven't made infographics in quite a while. Hopefully that answers your question, Alicio. Why is no shit? There we go. So what chart is DXY? Go to DXY daily chart. For infographic. Okay, got it on my to-do list so I won't forget it. So yeah, okay, Bitcoin again. So as you guys in the server know, we are in a long, because Josh wants to go over and so did Arav. So what I was looking for here on Bitcoin is we kind of had a little bit of the price action I want to see on ETH. We took out that low, right? So I think this is the area I want ETH to take out. Same I guess same footprint as far as the time goes. So we came back down into this imbalance, saw a massive expansion. We got a shift in structure, and we talked about this low on Monday's stream. Oh, poor baby. I heard somebody's kid crying. How that goes. But we shifted up. Now we've got this imbalance we came back down into, and then price pushed up again, leaving this order block. So that was where I set my limits. That was the idea, was because we had this impulse move and price kind of consolidating, engineering liquidity above right here. And then price came back down to the order block, tapped it. Nice ass reaction off of it. People were going crazy, like, oh, no drawdown. I was like, I think it's going to sweep it. And that it did. So it's kind of what I was expecting to happen. Overall, I see a lot of liquidity built up above these highs. Seems like it's wanting to move right now. Yeah, that's really about it. I mean, profit target here. It's a very similar story to ETH, really. Here, I just want this, and this is an example. I refined this 1 hour imbalance right here. Say 18.7. There's a order block there as well, and that's the beginning, or just after the beginning of the premium of the daily impulse move. So there's a good example, I guess, of what I was just went over as well. So hopefully, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, I could kind of go around on it, but that's really was my ideology behind it. The only trade I've taken was this and an ES trade this week. Hudson said, after I'm done explaining this, could I give my perspective of a low or a high that's a market structure shift when you're entering after a lick raid? Yeah, sure. Yes. Or actually, I mean, so any candle for me, it's any candle that has a lower high on either side. Like that is a market structure shift for me. I'm not talking about a strong high or a strong low. And that's just my style. It's a little more aggressive, but it's just that's what I look at. I just look at a high or a low being taken, but the displacement is the big point. So for instance, if this wick just wicked up about it and closed right here, I wouldn't have looked. I mean, there would have been no fair value gap either, but there would have been no shift. But since we had a candle right here, had a lower high on the left, a lower high on the right, that is a high to me. Now it's not swing structure or a strong high or a weak. I'm not going into all that. It is just a high. So, and I use the term swing high sometimes, but I don't mean to confuse anybody. You know, impulse swing. So there's so many different words. That's why I try to use range when I'm talking about the massive, you know, our quote swing structure is our range. And then we have, you know, our any highs and lows. So for instance, you know, this would be a low to me for as far as for liquid confirmations, and that would be a high. So we came down and made a low, made a high, and instead of taking that and making another lower low, we shifted up with displacement. So once we have that displacement, if we leave a fair value gap, which we did, that tells me that there's institutional involvement. And combining with the higher time frames, as always, that's where you would look to get an entry. Would be counter trend as far as like what the original displacement is, because remember on NQ the most recent displacement move in the downside, and this is just the liquidity that was taken. The shift happened way up there, so it doesn't have to be a strong high or strong low. For me personally, it just needs to be a high or a low. I want to just scan some alt daily charts. Well, Doge, a lot of. I completely forgot about this, to be quite honest. Should have said if we get stopped. I have my Binance where I if I'm really active, I'll be on it, but I can't get on my phone. Like my phone will rat me out. Like the VPN doesn't work or anything. I still get the bullshit like notifications. So I just like have it logged out, and I have an iPad that I get on it. Yeah, so some lottos, some free sauce. Well, that worked out nicely. I haven't looked at DOT, but I remember drawing this whenever we were somewhere in this region. The fuck is BitShares doing? It's in its own zone. Oh, that's why, because its chart ended in August. Makes sense. We killed the XMR shorts. And still have some of these, but very, very minimal. This was a very satisfying trade we took in Playbit. Our TRX a little bit yesterday. Can I check near? Yeah, we went over near yesterday. Let's see how it's doing. That was sad. You got missed on that. Yeah, so what we were talking about, and this actually might be a nice trade idea too. So we're talking about this shift right here. Seems like price wants to come a little deeper down into this imbalance. I'll send an alert. Wait, why did my mic just... Is that my mic? Let me make sure my audio and stuff's still good on the stream. Okay, it is. Sometimes when it does that, I will like literally lose lose the audio for the rest of the stream. Oops, make that. So I'm gonna set that alert to watch price as it comes down into this area. If the 5 minute starts giving me bullish price action, I'll look to long it there. Excuse me. Almost healthy again, guys. Almost. Not all the way yet, but definitely getting there. I actually like this chart. I know we went over yesterday. I'm glad somebody said to look at it because there's a lot of room here. We've got a lot of low resistance runs on liquidity, so it's just telling me that these are just engineering stop losses, like right there. Right here, that already got ran, but same thing. Another one right here. Anytime you just see a push up above liquidity and then we don't make another higher high and stop out the traders, you know, price is most likely going to come back to that. So a lot of little engineered resistances. What's the ticker for Grayscale? This GBTC, or I think there's a couple tickers. There's all the trusts for everything. Throw me a ticker when you can, ZP. Ryan asked, do I plan on trading next week, being that it's Thanksgiving, or do I think price will be sloppy? Maybe early in the week, but I won't be trading like on Thanksgiving or any of the end of the week. I'll be out. Not even just because of markets, just because I'll be, family. Okay. Kind of weird how it didn't make a second all-time high. Whatever Bitcoin did. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's at a good point. Might go a little lower, but like I like this candle because it took liquidity. And if we're following the order flow, like as far as like order blocks go, that was the COVID death wick that created that monthly order block of March before the biggest run this industry ever had. So you could see, let's go down to a weekly and try to see what we can find from this over here. So what I would look at on the weekly chart would be this right here, which is what we're kind of traveling off of right now. Right, wrong type of order block. So nothing really of interest yet as far as, to push us out of this. We need to come up and take a high with displacement, but it's going to be hard to do that because you have this massive volume imbalance here, which is going to be that weekly imbalance inside of it. So got a lot in front of you. But if the daily can start to show a shift, or the weekly, really the weekly showed a shift here, that would be massively bullish. Like massive. Like so bullish. I don't want to say where I would think it would go. That'd sound crazy. But again, it's not there yet. We need the weekly to have a massive move, and that's going to take crypto doing the same. Oops, what did I just do? There we go. So it doesn't look bad. It's at a point where it needs to reverse. If it doesn't reverse, it's going to go for COVID lows. It's at a very decisional point, which is interesting since this is the big Bitcoin trust. US oil. So took out these highs into this order block. I'm just going to do CL. It's the same. I know it's not, but it is. It's basically, I just like my chart better for this. But you saw that analysis. So now price, I think, is drawing down towards these equal lows here. We talked about this for quite a while now. There's some opportunities back here. Went a little lower, actually. That was right. I wanted the order block. I think we had refined something from down here. Did it take the high action on? Oh, it did. Never mind. I'm blind. Yeah, so after it came off this high on the daily chart, barely pipped it, and then immediate shift. There, right here. Actually pretty clean. So immediate shift down, return to a premium. Now price is going to go down and seek out stop. So I would say the next area you're going to be watching, I'm just going to delete all this. Actually, a really nice price action for oil. This is actually really clean. I'm going to post this up too. Yeah, I think the draw is going to be this low. So if you want to hop down into a 1 hour chart, yeah, this is actually super fucking clean, man. This is very clean. Very, very clean. Next one, I'd start trading. We traded oil not too long ago. So I don't like the way these highs are just resting there. Not a huge fan of that. It took the high and then again, low resistance runs on liquidity. Took that and made a lower high. I mean, I could see this even getting ran. So on the 1 hour, this is the price range I would look at. You've traveled up into this, probably just at a rejection block. I wonder how close to EQ that came. Right off EQ. Shift. Price came up. Pip that high. Shift. So, I mean, really, you wouldn't want to see it get above this. right there, but there are equal highs. That's the only thing I don't like. But overall, I think that price is bearish. So I would look for a reversal either here or above here to trade into this target right there. I mean, this is really nice. I'm going to set an alarm for this too. Set an alarm, like alert and alarm at the same time. Yeah, I like this. And make sure whenever you're trading oil, because I'm not very up to date with it, make sure you're not trading during anything to do with fucking OPEC, or you're gonna get your feelings hurt. This is actually really fucking beautiful price action. So see how once we come up into that higher time frame target, which is that daily high, on now the sell side of the curve. So now shorts are gonna pay better, and we're kind of reaching down towards this low. That's what I would look for. Super clean. This is the best chart I've looked at all day. As far as like, and see what I mean whenever, like, hopefully that gives you guys some insight on what I mean whenever I'm saying like I don't like this chart or like this. I look at it and I can tell you what I think's happening. I can be wrong, but I'm pretty confident, and that's important. Like, I also don't care to be wrong. So, when we look at indices and all this stuff, it's like, yeah, NQ is better than ES, and you can kind of tell whenever you're looking at something and it doesn't have that immediate, just click where you know what you're looking for, you know exactly how you're going to execute based off of it, you know exactly what it's going to need to get you in a trade, or at least to get you in that mode where you're looking for a trade, and then you set your alerts and you chill. So hopefully me doing that live gives you guys more insight and can help you guys do the same. It's all about patience too, and also just being the difference between me and a lot of you guys is I can sit on my hands. I cannot trade. Skura, we went over you at the beginning, so if you want to rewind, I'm actually about to cut the stream, but I'm going to answer this last question. So say NQH1 breaks down below the previous two lower candles. Would I extend that impulse, or would I start a new one? Let's look. Thank you for giving me a live example because it makes it much easier. Yeah, so if it just broke down like a little farther from like right here, and it really depends the distance of how far it moves, because it's came almost back up to a premium. So if it comes here and then it makes like a massive move down, yeah, I would say that's a new impulse move. Like if we close a candle right here and you close another candle and you move down, that would be another impulse swing. But the swing structure, so to speak, our external structure for NAS is much, much wider than any of that. That's going to be all of this for me. Actually, did that come right to that imbalance? I haven't really been paying attention to this. It's actually pretty clean. So this is a point where I would refine that daily imbalance just because we have a very clean 1 hour imbalance right under our equilibrium. So I'm actually going to not even pay attention to that order block, because there was an EQ of the daily impulse, but our 1 hour range is a little different. So hopefully that helps. LM says they 100% agree. The market is a tool designed to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Yeah, I like that quote. It's very true. And another thing, I put a tweet up too that I really like this take. I saw it somewhere else. I didn't come up with it. Now sorry, I read something. caught my attention. But the quote was that trading is the art of self-mastery. So part of being the best version of you is, self-control, knowing when and where to do things and when and where not to do them, and kind of going and having the willpower to go against your impulses. And that's what makes people good leaders, and it's definitely what makes people good traders. So just think of things in that perspective. It's nice though. NQ did exactly what we wanted. It's not really came to the break, but I said it would that fulfill I liked as well. So I'm out for the day, guys. If you guys have any questions, and if you guys, sorry, my phone's blown up. I have to do something right after this. But if you guys need anything, you know how to get at me. And yeah, for now we're just showing that Bitcoin long and the Doge Lottos. So pretty boring week, but it's okay. Last week was pretty fucking insane, so can't be mad about it. You guys have a great day. Stay safe. And again, you guys know how to get at me. Peace.